Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wizards Within. I am Sprinkles Nixon, and I'm here today to share a little bit with you and my partner in crime, although we haven't done any yet, but if we do, she's going to be my partner. And we're here to share with you today some things that you may find of interest, and we hope that you do. And if you have any questions, and if you're hearing this thing, please do post to the Wizards Within Facebook page, and we'll be happy to answer or follow up with you on anything that you may want to know about. So I'm welcoming my partner, and her name is Jan King, and she's Dr. Jan King because she's got so much patience with me.
That's good. That's really true. That is true. Very much so.
So what do you have in store for us today, my dear? Unless you want to talk about something else. I mean, everything going good with you?
There's so much craziness.
Yes.
And I don't even want to talk about the craziness because it'll probably drive me crazy and drive you crazy. So I was going to do that a little bit, and I thought, no, I'm not going there. So maybe...
It's so much fun sometimes, just to release that.
You know, I don't know. I just feel like everybody is... I don't know what is the problem, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the problem is, and it's starting to get on my nerves. Okay? It shouldn't do that, but it does. So, but I feel like...
Right, though, which way are you referring, so I can resonate?
I'm just saying, just basically speaking, I'm tired of the whole show, the show out there in Fantasyland.
Yes, in this world. Because, yes. And it's very confusing, too, at times.
Yes, yes. Mm-hmm. Well, so I think that I feel right now, right in coming up in January, I'll just mention it briefly, just a little touch. Pluto and Saturn are going to be together in, they're both in Capricorn, but they're going to meet up in the same degree. And you know Pluto is the transformer, and if you don't go with it, you get the 2x4 on your head. As somebody used to tell me years ago, you know, oh, that person is not, if they don't start waking up, they're going to get the 2x4. I said, good for them. Because I'm going to wake up. Okay, here we go. But with this Pluto-Saturn thing, Pluto transforms, and then Saturn keeps everything sort of steady and a little stern at times, you know. But I mean, it's more like it keeps things on track. Saturn does.
Yes.
Maybe sometimes it doesn't. You don't like what it does because it's sort of stiff and just there's a lack of humor there at times with a Saturn kind of aspect going on.
It can come off kind of cold, but...
Cold, very cold, very cold. And since it's in Capricorn, the both of them are now continuing in Capricorn. They're going to meet up, I think, on January, I don't know, I think 12th. Don't quote me on that. I don't have it. I didn't write it down. But it's in the first 2 weeks of January. And that means whatever's going on now is just a forerunner of what's going to happen after that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so there you go.
That's my sun sign.
Well, it's not happening on your sun sign because your sun sign's early. So it's not that, but I guess it's more like it's really transformation and
yes.
And being self-disciplined. Okay, it's going to bring in transformation, shake the system big time. If it isn't already, it's already doing something. And most of the boys and girls out there are, I'd say, not seeing the whole picture. I have no defense of anybody. I'm not siding with anybody here. I'm just saying there's some reason for what's going on and what's going to come out of it.
Yes.
Okay? A lot of people aren't going to be happy about it. Mm-hmm. But that's okay. Because some people say one thing, some astrologers say one thing, some astrologers say another. I think nobody knows exactly. I mean, I could see something happening in one way. I'm being very general here, but then there are others who are saying, well, this is specifically going to happen. Well, everybody has free will.
Yes.
So, even though it says so in the chart, can you change it? Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know how you change it? You go to a different location. That'll change it. And that's why tonight I'm talking about astrocartography, which is also referred to as locational astrology or astrogeography, which is, nobody says astrogeography, but that's just another way of saying it because it uses the world map. You could use your, you use your birth chart. Mm-hmm. And what happens is that astrocartography is about a map, a world map, and you sort of tune in, you set it up that the aspects come out from where you're born, okay? Mm-hmm. Now you could change it if you move someplace else, you could do that. You could change it. But what I'm talking about tonight is if you live in a certain place or lived in a certain place, then I would say, this is the basic. This is what you start out with, okay, as far as how it affects your life, where you live. Uh-huh. How it affects your life when you go on a trip. I mean, if I go to, what should I say? Okay, I'll give you an example, and then I'll go for, I wasn't going to do this first, but my sun sign is right on the midheaven, which is how you are out there in public, mm-hmm. and how you do something. And since I'm going to start with the sun anyway, I'm going to give you that. So my sun on the midheaven, which is, the top of the chart, when you have a chart, you see it's a 10th house cusp, is in Paris. That's one place. It's in Paris. It goes through Paris. There's a line that goes, it goes through many other places, but I'm picking that. So somebody said something one time, because I always loved Paris, and I never been there, and I thought, well, I should go there, because that would probably be a very good self-realization kind of place. I could find out who I really am. Uh-huh. And what should I say? There would be more vitality, I would be more optimistic, and I would have more fun.
Yes, so these energies would be there for that.
Yeah, it would be just the sun energy.
Oh.
Okay, because you see, these lines, there are 40 lines when you do an astrocartography chart. Mm-hmm. When you pull it up, there are 40 lines across the world, and some may intersect, some may just it rounds the globe. Okay, so they all start at a particular point and then sweep out over the globe. Hmm. And it's sort of fun to do it, because if you find, I guess it's also, like I said, Paris on the midheaven would be something that would bring me out into the forefront. I would be people would notice what I'm doing and maybe help me along, mm-hmm. that kind of thing. Now, if you have, there's all the lines, like all the planets, including Chiron. So there's 10 planets, and 10 planets have 4. They are either on the ascendant, on the midheaven, on the descendant, and on the, IC, which I'm immune coeli, which is the bottom of the chart, your home, the 4th house. Okay, now, and then you could have squares, you could have trines, you could have sextiles, you could have, so if you have something, should I say, for instance, I'm going to give you your thing, and then I'm going to go through and tell you a little bit about each one.
Okay.
When
I was born on the East Coast, and now I reside on the West Coast.
I know, but the thing is, I'm using this from you being born on the East Coast, and since you traveled to where you live now, okay,
yes.
And you went there, so where you're living now, Chiron is trine or sextile to midheaven, which means you receive positive and healing energy.
Oh.
And your psychic process increases.
Oh.
And if it doesn't, you better tell me.
Oh, it's been doing that, and it's like, wow, okay.
and if there's any family problems, there's some kind of reconciliation. But in the professional field, if you were out there doing other than just, the basics that you're doing now, mm-hmm. If you're working out there, you would find, I don't know, maybe you did find solutions to anything that may have popped up. You just out of nowhere, something popped up and you said, oh, I know how to fix this, or I know how to do this. So think back. You may find that may have happened.
Oh,
okay?
Yeah.
And it's also, there's any kind of alternative, any kind of healing alternative stuff, big benefits from this.
Oh, good.
And if there's any it's also a place for citizen, if you wanted to be in a citizen action group as well as a protester.
Oh, that's me.
You can do it very effectively.
Oh, I was getting riled up with this stuff, and I said, you know what? They're so full of it, I'm not even going to bother no more. Because it's like a big sham going on, and it's like, are you for real? And how to get away with this? And they're using our money. I'm talking political end, so yeah, you got me on that one.
So anyway, now there are a couple negative things going on also.
Okay.
Saturn, I didn't go into detail right now, but there's a Saturn square and a node square. So the node square would be like, you might have some, I think this Chiron one, no matter what goes on, no matter what other aspects come in, other planets that have lines near there, this is the main one. And the other ones, even though they're a bit negative, they're not negative, but it's just, it gives you, the Saturn square would make it, let's see, how would I describe it? I'm just trying to think. There may be something that came up with what I just talked about, in the sense of maybe family-wise it would be difficult, okay? Or maybe there'd be some tension, okay? And that might come up. But if you're in a healing mode, most likely you can just walk by it or walk through it without that much of a difficulty, that kind of thing.
Yes, I understand that, yes.
So, as I said, I didn't go into detail on that because it's, I felt that it was better to just bring up this, it's because of positive, it was a strong line. Okay? And, so anything that you're doing that requires any healing, there you go. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not just saying holistic health healing. I'm talking about, you could use that. It would work fantastically if you needed to do some health work or health healing for yourself too. But you work also in other ways. So you can send healing out in a variety of ways. Yes. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm.
I do.
Okay, so also, amazingly so, in like the sun line, as I said, that's the strongest energy center. So wherever your sun line is, the basic sun line, no matter what, usually if it's a square, it's a negative. But if it's like a right on the ascendant, let's say the sun is on the ascendant, the line is on the ascendant. So that means that you're out there. People know who you are. They get you. And it's also, you have greater self-confidence, and your self-image is really strong. Okay, so that would be a good place to find where your sun is on the ascendant. Also, what's another good one? Well, Pluto on the ascendant would be a lot of intensity, lots of passion for what you're doing or in your life. It's in a variety of ways.
Yes.
And anything else, if it's stressful, because sometimes Pluto does bring stress, a lot of it sometimes, but it's more like it acts like a catalyst to your transformation. So if you get stressed or something happens that comes up and you have to deal with it, well, if you walk through it without getting entangled, then that transformation can take place.
I see. Yes.
And I think that's just to bring that up now, wherever half of America is, sometimes I think, they're entangled instead of letting it be transformed.
Yes.
Do you feel that way?
Yes, and I've noticed a change. It's like stepping back and allowing people, well, it's not like, well, it is kind of, allowing them to do what they do, and me just to kind of like step up, give my little piece, and make sure it's not going either way, but they get the message. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So, and it's like not holding it against them in any way or form.
Right. Right.
But it's a matter of take heart. What about this?
Right.
And so yeah, it's a whole different thing compared to where I was back in New York. New York is, I'm in your face. But out here, I've also come to, back there too, there was a lot of traveling in New York, a lot of traveling. Did so many home parties, so many special events. All these
were you tense when you were out there in out east? Were you a bit tense?
Yes. Because
I think your Pluto is the Pluto line. I don't know. I don't remember which part of it. If it's a square, it probably is a square, and it makes tense. And I'm not saying you didn't get through it, but it was just it probably was helping you to see something deep inside.
It challenged me to be open more.
Yes. Yeah.
And not be in fear of situations.
Yes, perfect. That's exactly.
Yeah, that's so true.
Did you read my book?
No, I have a book. I want to read it.
No, I'm only kidding.
Oh.
I said the way you talk, the way you just spoke about it was exactly what I was going to say, but you said it, which is fine.
Did you know that? Oh my gosh.
Oh, so anyway, but there's all, like I said, there's the moon line. It makes the childhood is there, the past, any unresolved issues can be worked on. Yes. See, and if there's a square to the moon line, if it's a moon square, then it would make it a little bit more difficult. You'd have to work around things or try to work through them more so than just. Sometimes if it's a positive, it'll happen. You could start the changes. You could create a new start. Sometimes if it's square or, more square, it'll be more difficult. Not saying you can't do it, but maybe you don't even want to be there, okay? So what basically I'm saying is that, okay, Mercury's about communication and easy going if it's a good line. Venus line is, social, and it's really pleasant. Love relationships are intensified. You're very creative. Music, pottery, sculpture, painting, anything that you have that you're gifted with, good place to live where the Venus line is. Of course, if it's square, it's going to make it a little more difficult to do some of these things, and I wouldn't live on if you could help not living on a square. Any of the planets square anything else.
Yeah.
Meaning the ascendant, the midheaven, the descendant, any of those. if you can avoid living there, I would not do it because it would be tense. And I know people that do live on it, and I could see why they're so stressed out. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if they go away, that's another thing. If you go somewhere, it's good to go to someplace that's positive. Yeah. Okay. If you went to like a Jupiter positive line, then you would probably it'd be easy. You'd be like, everybody would be helpful, and you gain great insights and everything and you'd find it would be very lucky for you. Okay. Yeah. But and yet independent. Yeah. Whereas if it's a square, you might, maybe you get full of yourself and start lecturing others. Getting out there, telling them what to do and all that kind of stuff. Sometimes that happens. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Yeah. So lots of times, let me just see if there's I'm not going to go through all of them because there's a lot. And but I'll go, there's a couple other things that I want to just mention real quick. There's also something called locality astrology, but locational. Okay, it's almost the same thing, except it's done with just the lines, no squares, no nothing like that. It's exactly where it goes, totally from where you were born. And now you can move that and move it anywhere in the country and see what happens. But what I'm saying is that if you're living close to where you were born and you look at it, okay, it's interesting because when the place I live is near where I grew up, okay? Never knew this. I have a Venus line going right through the town. Oh, okay. Wow. So that means that this is where I met my husband, my late husband, okay, somewhere in this area, like within the 20 miles of the area. It goes about 50 miles either way, some of these lines. It depends. But the thing is, that's locational, and that's a little different. Okay. But one other thing that went with me is that Uranus line is right through the whole eastern part of the state I'm in, okay? Wow. And it's all about, guess what? Astrology. Huh? Being different, being a little off, doing my own thing. Yeah, I never knew this. I knew what it meant in some ways, but I never looked into it deeply until I started looking at it today. And the last couple of days when I was doing some research, I thought, I'm looking at the map and I'm thinking, are you kidding me? Well, no wonder my mother gave me the book. Oh. She must have done a chart, and she didn't even have a computer back then.
Oh my gosh! So something though how the direction was kind of given, and you picked it up all the way. Yeah. That's so.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, and I try to get away from it. I just say, I'm not doing this anymore. Sure. Sure you are. No, I'm not doing it anymore. Yeah, right.
But you have to, because it's like the book of knowledge opening up. It's giving you some insight into things that you weren't able to relate with until you knew about it.
That's true. That's very true. I wasn't interested. I had no interest whatsoever until in anything. I was just sort of like all I wanted to do was read anything, just read. Yeah. And then when she gave me that, and then I put it away for a while, and then I finally pulled it out, and I used to do charts, by hand. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, by hand.
Too. Oh my
God. Yeah, I know, you told me. And it's just like using all those mathematical formulas. I go, are you kidding me? Oh, yeah, right. What was wrong with me? So anyway, what I'm saying is that, if you travel someplace, if you want to go someplace, the best thing to do is find out, look at your chart and look at this world astrocartography chart, and you go, oh, look where this line is. I'm not going to go there because that's a Pluto line, and I'll probably get myself into trouble.
So does it state if it's what planet line it is?
Yeah, it does. Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. And what is that book again? I want to write it down.
What is the book?
what is the, where you can find the lines? What's it called?
Oh, you have to go on AstroDienst. You have to become a member of AstroDienst.
Okay.
AstroDienst. Okay. I could send you a copy of your map.
Oh.
But I don't know. I could try to do that. I'm not sure if I could. Okay. If I can't, then you'd have to just see what you can do about going there, because it's.
Well, I thought I was there.
No, but it does make a difference. I'm telling you, Sprinkles, that when I travel, no matter where I go, even if it's like, what should I say, down the road. No, I mean not down the road. Maybe out of the state. Okay. I mean I know what lines are there. It's still the same in the eastern part of the United States for me is this astrology thing. Okay, not just astrology, but like just inner work and spirituality, that kind of stuff, and just looking within, which is great. Maybe I don't want to look within. Do I have a choice? Well, obviously not, because I just can't get away from it. I just put it in the drawer. I have people come in my house and they go, "Wow, where'd you get all these books?" and I don't even know how I read all of them, because I didn't have time to read anything for years, and yet I read. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes, because it's a hunger for knowledge. It is what it is, and it drives you. Believe me, I can understand all the books and stuff. I had to get rid of a lot of books because every time we moved into a smaller and smaller place. And some of them didn't have a garage or a shed, so I could put them in.
Right.
So, you know what I mean? I mean, I had so many, and they weren't all in just one area, one category, you know what I mean?
That I agree. Yes, I know what you mean. Yeah.
It's everything. You want to know about everything, and it's such a hunger when you get on it, and it's an awakening. It's an awakening to know, and we are supposed to be in this point here so that we can share it with others that don't know, or share with others that can relate, so it supports each other.
Mm-hmm. So go on.
Yeah, so it's a hunger of knowledge, and we've come to this point, and we're shifting. This big shift, I can't get it out of my head because I can see it. You know what I mean? I can see it, I can feel it, I can see it in others, and I know there's supposed to be 3 waves or something like that, and I know who the 3rd wave is, and I can pinpoint them like no tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yes, exactly. Yes, I know.
Yeah, so I don't think I'm the 1st wave. I think I'm the 2nd wave. Anyway, but the whole thing is that there is a shift taking place, and there's so much garbage coming up, like it's loosening. You know what I mean?
Oh, yes.
It's erupting to where everything that was hidden is coming out being seen.
Do you find yourself, to digress from this location thing for just one moment since you brought it up, do you find yourself with its, because there is transformation going on, believe me, as you know, but do you find yourself, I was watching something and I was touched so deeply I started crying. I thought, what are you crying about? This is not even something to cry about. And it was just the moment of, it just touched me. I'm thinking, and it wasn't like really heavy crying. It was just crying. It was just like tears were flowing, and I'm thinking, that's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, well, and then I'm questioning, well, what is this about? And I thought, well, maybe I'll figure it out what it was about. And maybe it wasn't supposed to be known. And maybe you're just supposed to release whatever was coming up. That's all. Could be just a release.
Yes. Well, I can so relate with that, Dan, because I did that, but I didn't just do it for like a week or two. I did it for freaking months. I mean,
I believe it. Oh, yeah.
Sensitivity of, and it wasn't over anything that was, you know what I mean? It was,
yep.
It wasn't something that was so striking that you have to sit there and cry. It was, I mean, I even went to a therapist to find out, why am I crying like this? He had no idea.
Of course he did.
Idea what was bringing it on. I couldn't believe it. And I said, that's it. I'm going home. And it gradually wore off. But I tell you, I mean, I cried at the drop of a hat, and that's ridiculous.
Oh, I know. I did too.
Awakening with your emotions, don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes, I do.
It lasts for a little bit. It's not like it goes on for years. It's, to me, it was months, a couple of,
Yes, I know what you mean. I know, exactly. I know. It's fascinating to me.
Yes.
Okay, it is.
Cleansing of the soul, I think.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But
yes.
I still can relate with you with that. But yeah.
But what I also think is that when, just going back to this astrocartography for a minute, if you really want to do something, I mean, if those out there are interested in looking at this or whatever, it's so fascinating, because there are places you just think, oh, because sometimes you're attracted to certain places. Mm-hmm. As I said, I like Paris. I've never been there, but I would go there in a New York minute, because now I know, gee, that would be very positive for me. But there are other places, in this country that I think, oh, I don't think so. Yeah. And then when I looked at the map, I go, yeah, you're right. I wouldn't go there in a New York minute. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's just, but a lot of other times too, is to find out. It's a little bit. Not astrocartography, I don't even know, it's more like a locational thing. But I mean, I often look up the different, if I can find out when the town that you are going, like you live in or you're going to, what their birth chart is. I mean, when are they incorporated? That would tell you their birth, that would be like a birth date, if they're incorporated.
So, with me, my grandchildren are all born here.
Okay.
They're not born from back east. They're all born here,
mm-hmm.
in the same state. And I like I said, it's like you can pick out who is aware of a shift, but they don't know how to focus yet on it. You know what I mean?
Well, the thing is, but they're not. They could all be born there, but they may all have different lines, and each line may, wherever they're living there, they could have totally different lines going through there.
Ah.
It's not like the same for everybody, because unless you're born at the same time, on the same date, in the same year, it's not the same.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. So by all of them being born there, that's okay. But the thing is, if you pulled up a map of the world and you put, the lines came up all across, and you could just put favorable lines and unfavorable lines.
Yes.
So do you know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is that they may all be born there, but they're not. They have nothing the same. Most likely.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting. I got to get into this. Astrodeanist?
No, it's Astrodeans is the people that run the website.
Okay.
Astrocartography is what the name of it is, of what the lines, looking for the lines, and because it's locational astrology. But there's one other thing. You could take, there's something, a locality astrology, which there's something called local space. They also have this on Astrodeans now. It wasn't on there before years ago, but now it is. And you can even look at this is what I was saying about the town where you were born, or coming off of there, you would see these other lines. This is just plain old sun, moon, Mars, those kind of lines in a specific place, and they go out all over the country. Mm-hmm. But if you move someplace, then you would look at it from that point. Okay, but this astrocartography is from where you're born. Okay, and you could follow the line all the way through the squares and the trines and the good aspects. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's one other thing you could do with locality astrology, which is that around the town, wherever you are. You could do it in your house. You could find how to
latitude and
sort of set up a chart for your house. You would have to find where the north is, and then you would pull in all the it's sort of like you have to draw a map of your house, sort of a sketch of your house, and then find the north, and then you would put this these lines out of this sort of like a circle, and the lines come out of the circle like spreading out all over the place. And you could do that in your house over the map of your house and see what things are favorable and not favorable, and you could change things. It's almost like a feng shui of the astrological feng shui.
Yeah. How interesting.
That's something.
You do this?
I haven't done that. That's just something that's relatively new that they put up. People have done that a long time ago, but it was never in the on the website. This is something. It's relatively new, I think, in the last year or so. Okay. Maybe it's a little further, maybe it's a little longer, but I haven't looked into it. I really just saw it a couple weeks ago, and I thought, was this here a long time? No, probably not. It's pretty new. So I just thought that was interesting.
Yes, it is very interesting. Oh, I got to check into that.
And yet, one more thing about traveling.
Right.
If you know how to do a chart, or you know how you could pull one up somewhere, you could do a travel chart for when you want to travel. If you're traveling someplace, I do this all the time. Oh my gosh. If I'm going to leave at 9 o'clock in the morning on certain date, and I'm going to leave my house and go somewhere, then I put it in, and it comes up a chart, and I see what's going to happen.
Oh.
Like, am I going to have? Is it going to be like smooth, or what am I going to have to do? So I try to make it that it's pretty flawless in the sense of that my trip is. Like my time spent wherever I'm going, the traveling and the time spent in the return trip is favorable.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you can't always do that to get perfect. It's not perfect, but I mean, at least you get a little bit less stress.
Yeah. Huh. Oh, I needed that back east. But this is fascinating. It really is, because I always thought, because I had gotten into the astrology, that does it change when you move somewhere else?
Yes.
Southeast or west, but when you move, how does that affect your natal astrological chart?
No.
It's got a shift.
Well, it does shift the ascendant and the midheaven. So if you I'll have to look at yours, and we'll do next time we have a show. I'll let you know.
All right.
How it is where you live now. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, where I am now, I don't even want to travel. Because I did so much back east that it's with the internet. It helps me so much more. But yet I can love the area I'm in, and you know what I mean. I don't have to travel as much now. Mm-hmm. So, and it's a great help and everything. It's unbelievable. And I just love my area. But I would like to know, because I want to know where to put my garden next year. Is that a good spot on that?
Yeah, probably. That would be good to find out how to do that.
Yeah. I'm going to have a lot more questions for you, young lady. I'm going to throw them at you. But what if this was this?
Oh my!
Very interesting. But you know what? From what you're saying, it seems like it's pretty logical and easy to find out, because this information is available now.
Yes, it is. Yes. Mm-hmm. It's. I mean, it's. You know what? Back in the day when you didn't have computers and most people weren't into it, it came about more so. It was out to, I guess, between the 30s and the 60s. There was some talk on it, and there was a few books and stuff. But in the 70s, this guy named Jim Lewis, he's the one that really brought it to the out in the forefront.
Oh. Huh.
So I believe there's a book that he has.
Jim Lewis?
What's that?
Was it Jim Lewis, you said?
Yeah, Jim Lewis. Yeah. It's called Astro, and it has a little like star, and then Cartog star, Cardo star, and then Graphy. You know, like that was a what should I say? copy. Maybe that's a copyright or whatever. It's the name is. He's the one that designated that name, but it has little stars. Nobody puts it in anymore. But the real thing was with these little stars because he came up with it.
Uh-huh. Interesting. Totally interesting. So, anything else you want to share with us?
No, I'm done. I hope that helped somebody out there. I mean, I think it's a really good thing to do. Like I said, especially if you're having problems where you're living. I mean, because it may be not saying, gee, I'm going to get up and move right now. But sometimes if you think, gosh, I think I need to move. You know, it just isn't working here or something like that.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't do that. They just stay where they're at and deal with it. Mm. But I think if it's really stressful, one should remove oneself and move. And even if it's like 20 miles down the other way, and maybe there's another line there that would help out. Mm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But there's not everybody does that.
Yeah.
And so.
Well, see, I think that would be very helpful because, like, say you're in a situation and you just want to get at it in your home. So you go out the front door that's facing south, or do you go out the side door that's facing west, or do you go out the back door that's facing north?
Right. No, well, that's true. But see, and that with the feng shui with that. But the thing is, if you did an astrology. Local space chart with the whole thing, you could fix things. Mm-hmm. And I mean, you don't need the astrology to do that. Meaning, like you could do it just the regular feng shui. But the thing is, I think it's fascinating. I never knew this that you could do it with an astrology chart in your house. That's amazing. I wish I would have known that a long time ago, but I didn't.
You do numerology too, right?
What numerology? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so. We can look, I mean, this information is out there, so you can look up the number that your addresses have and what they've been, and to see how that fits in. What do you think about that?
You mean as far as the number of your address?
The numbers, the numerology numbers on places of residences, past, present.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. You can do things with that, sure.
Oh, my gosh. I just love it. I love information because then I start to dig around in things.
Oh, yeah. I know. I agree. It's just, I wish I don't know how many boys and girls out there like to do that. And I'm not being funny with the boys and girls because I like this guy on a sports show, and he says, "Hi, boys and girls. I hope everyone's all right tonight." And he goes and talks about sports. But the way he says it, it's just so funny. And I thought, that's why I said it. Well,
it makes me laugh. And when you say that, I got to tell you, when you do say that, I have to laugh and I have to giggle because I see Captain Kangaroo. Hello, boys and girls.
He might be coming through.
Oh, my gosh. But that was one of the really good kid shows, I think. I think that was very informative as well.
Yeah.
And it comes from back east, so I don't know if anybody out in the west knows anything about it, but yeah, he was super cool. But I love it. I think it's so cute. I love it when you say, hello, boys and girls. Okay, well, what I wanted to share with others is I do these forecastings with these regular deck of cards. And in the regular deck of cards, everybody has a birth card. And I figured I would share that with you. And I've taken to looking at the interpretation of what the Nine of Diamonds is, which is what Jan is. She's a Nine of Diamonds person.
Yay.
Yes. And her universal values is the giver. Okay, so she gives and gives, and she's so packed with information. I want to squeeze it and get more out. But so Jen is the Nine of Diamonds, and the description for the Nine of Diamonds are people who are are here to let go and complete a major chapter in evolution of their soul and their personality. This entails a lot of giving to others and a willingness to release both people and material things from their life when the time comes. Okay? It's, in other words, it's okay. She kind of will let things kind of go. At a certain point, you know, if it has to change, she kind of accepts it and lets it go. If they have not heeded the call to give and let go of others, money, relationships, and love, their life can be filled with disappointment and remorse. Those on the positive side are philanthropic, generous, happy, and productive. All have the opportunity to experience firsthand on the heightened consciousness that comes from living a universal life. Okay, so despite losses from time to time, these people can do very well in business, especially when it involves selling or other creative enterprises. They are great at promoting things they believe in. They are great talkers and communicators. Many become counselors, if not professionally, then at least with their friends and family. If they keep their values and family, hold on a second. If they keep their values in proper perspective, they may even attain affluence. A disregard for the higher laws, we must give in order to receive, will inevitably result in misfortune and misery. They should be careful while driving, and you do a lot of driving. You got to be careful. And when taking any kinds of risks, they can be reckless or accident-prone on the road. They also have great minds, and many are attracted to professional work that allows them to use their intellectual abilities. Many become successful attorneys or excel in any of the communication fields due to the powerful King of Clubs. If they have the King of Clubs in their future destiny, that is their Mars position. Okay, so, but your planetary ruling card, Jan, is the Two of Clubs, and I'll try to get over into that.
Is that the rune card? Did you say rune? Hello?
Yes.
What did you say the Two of Clubs was?
The Two of Clubs is your planetary ruling card.
Oh, okay.
It's your planet card that rules you. And some people, a lot of people, by the way, even though, like you're a Nine of Diamonds, you may be more of your Two of Clubs that comes through than the Nine of Diamonds. So it's always kind of good to look into the planetary ruling card. Okay, so the Nine of Diamonds may not fit you perfectly, but the Two of Clubs may. So this card also gives them more success than most other birth cards when it comes to legal matters and disputes. The Nine of Diamonds is also usually gifted when it comes to doing sales and promotional work. They can make more money doing sales than most anything else, though most of them choose a line of work intellectually stimulating to them. And you do. I know you stimulate my mind, and I'm like, wow, that is so cool. Wow, you got to tell me more. Okay, one of the challenges of the Nine of Diamonds.
What do you want? I could sell you anything, right?
Well, almost.
I'll have to work on that.
Yes. Anyway, I know it will be good, only because you're just a powerhouse of information. One of the challenges to the Nine of Diamonds is to develop and use their charm and power to do good work. Many of them are destined to make great contributions to the world, often by leading others to a higher form of knowledge and understanding. There you go. That wraps you up in one package right there. That is awesome. So between generalities between the personality card and connections, a female Nine of Diamonds are often attracted to club males. Okay, so you need to find out what the club male is, which can make for good marriage or business partners. Spade women love Nine of Diamonds men, but Diamond women find them very challenging. The female Nine of Diamond does well with other Diamond men, And the male nine of diamonds should always beware of the female club, etc., etc. Might make a good marriage partner. Both sexes should be careful around anyone possessing a queen of diamonds birth date. So if you're interested in any of them, I can look that up for you. But I want to go over your planet ruling card real fast kind of here. Okay, now, the planet ruling card, okay, this is entitled under the conversation card. Okay? And boy, do we have conversations. Oh, my goodness.
I talk to anybody.
Okay, so among the people of the two clubs, you will note a wide variety of personalities. Some are fearful of nearly everything, especially of being alone, and will do everything in their power to make sure they are surrounded by people who admire them or are there to talk to. They are sociable, enjoy good, stimulating conversations. Then there are those who are reclusive and appear to need no one. Okay, you're more the outgoing. In truth, they are just as afraid as always to have one special person to whom they can attach themselves to. The Ace of Spades is the karma card, okay, and if that means if it's in your destiny reading. Can mean an inner fear of death or change, which explains so much of their behavior. However, these people are endowed with many natural abilities and gifts. They can be exceptional in business and with people, preferring to work in partnership rather than alone. They have one of the more fortunate life paths. There is much protection surrounding this card, and they all have much to be grateful for. If they simply recognize the abundance in their lives, they will help to dispel the underlying fear that can do so much damage in them. The two of clubs loves to talk and share ideas. They have an incredible mind that can make the finest distinctions. They are witty and charming, unless they are caught up in fear, which makes them irritable and argumentative. Much of their life is fated, and part of their challenge is to simply accept things as they are, especially themselves and their closest relationships. Okay? So let's do the two clubs on the female. Some of the most physically beautiful, attractive, and intelligent people are two of clubs. And one would usually look at them and think that they have almost anything they desire. It is in mystery, in some cases, why they choose the people with whom they end up. More of a trait in the female clubs than the males. The love relationships are more a reflection of their state of inner wellness and self-love than any other factor. If their inherent fear has not been recognized and confronted, they will often settle for anyone just to avoid being alone, or for someone who is abusive, psychotic, or weird in some way. This can lead, yeah, you found us. This can lead to codependent and other undesirable relationships. Okay? The two of clubs themselves can be an instigator of arguments that come up from time to time. The two of clubs has the kind of mind that can pick others apart and find all their mistakes and shortcomings. Oh my God, Jen. But it doesn't seem to help them in the actual choices they make in their relationships. Because you're accepting and you know that people are like they are. Okay? And you can't, I do feel this so deeply that you're so aware of this that you're not going to change them because
that's so true. That's very true. And people don't understand this with me. I don't care. Be who you are. I don't be who you are. Yes. Do what you want. Dance in the street. I don't care.
Yes, because that is them. It's not you.
That's true.
And you can fully understand that if somebody likes doing that, all well and good, go ahead, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not going to go and do it. You know what I mean?
No.
But you're accepting of it. You're accepting of them allowing to be themselves, which I think is totally awesome. And we're just about out of time, so I'm going to have to cut that one a little short. I didn't have too much more on that. Oh, wait. The two of clubs woman gets along well with both male clubs and diamonds. If they are willing to be more at home, child-raising wife, the club would probably make the best choice for a husband, especially the king of clubs. Okay, and with Diamond Man, there is a strong romantic connection which brings pleasure, but probably not anything lasting. The two of clubs men should take care around the heart woman with whom they share a challenging connection. Now, it isn't too much, but it kind of like has a little, I think that you are a bit of both cards, okay?
Yeah, I do too. I do too. I agree with you on that. Because the Nine of Diamonds totally says about one part of me. But the two, and I didn't realize there was another card to go with the Nine of Diamonds. That's interesting. So the Two of Clubs is the other part of me. Yeah, I could see that, definitely.
Okay, so when I do a chart, it's I like to put both out there because then they can see which one people are more of, and what is good and what is in bad, what to keep and what to let go.
That's true. That's good. That's good. That's really good.
Yeah, but it's also very interesting. Actually, maybe when I come back next time, I'll bring up mine so that.
Yeah, I was going to say, why don't you do yours next time?
Okay. Wait, we have Thanksgiving coming up here, and we got about a minute left here. We got Thanksgiving coming up next week, so we're probably not going to be doing a show. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so we will be back in December, the first week of December.
Yeah.
So that we can get in before the. I know people are running around crazy when the Christmas time comes around. They're all over the place, the events and everything else. So let's just take it for the first week of.
That'll be fine. That'll be good. That'll be good.
Okay? And then we'll take it from there.
But then from there, perfect.
I also want to let everybody know too that there are changes coming, and we are on the midst of these changes.
Oh yes.
Keep your eyes and ears open. And Jan, did I tell you that the chat thing that I have going is you can call each other on that.
Oh, I didn't know that.